Welcome to r/nosleep. Now, I don't read a lot of stories from here, mainly because I get scared really easily. But today we are going to be reading stories from No Sleep. So yeah, let's look for some. Let's filter by. Let's do top of this month. I've already read this one. So I'm gonna look for some other ones. My father-in-law is in prison for trying to kill me. Now I know he was trying to be kind. Your gut is trying to tell you something. My boss gives me extra money because I look like his dead daughter. Am I a terrible person for taking it? My research team discovered a lake of water trapped miles beneath the Antarctic ice. It went all wrong after we lowered the first drone. Also, I should mention, I am going to make a ton of mistakes because I can't read that well, to be honest. So, yeah. Ooh, this one looks good. My husband died a month ago. How do I tell him? This looks good. Okay. Hey, Luce. Haven't talked to you in a while. Just checking to see how you're doing since Mark. Anyways, call or text when you feel like talking. I'm here for you. I stare at the phone, rereading the first message my best friend sent. How am I doing? How do I answer that? Mark was my husband. Is my husband, I guess. 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. This started 18 months of total hell, pursuing treatment after treatment, making the smallest headway before it came crashing back on us again and again. We had discussed children, but we had never gotten around to it. That was the only silver lining in all of this, that I didn't also need to worry about caring for a child during this time. Eventually, we accepted that we needed to prepare for the very real fact that Mark was going to die. We made sure his will and life insurance were in order. He wrote letters to his parents and sister. I made sure I had all of his passwords so I could cancel any subscriptions he had. Side note, why is that the most important thing that you're thinking of? Anyways, we hired a palliative nurse to take care for him at the house. 2 months after hiring the nurse, Mark passed away. The week following his passing is a blur. I know I met with the funeral director, but I couldn't tell you any details of what we discussed. I do remember being very grateful for my best friend Kate, as she helped keep the director in line as to what Mark actually wanted and didn't allow him to push me towards something more expensive. I remember going home after the funeral, walking in the door and seeing Mark's shoes in the entryway. A week, I'd just been in a daze, occupying my mind with the funeral arrangements, but now that it was over, seeing those shoes, I cried. No, I sobbed, hyperventilating sobs. I cried for what felt like hours. Eventually, I fell asleep. When I woke up, I felt a presence in the house. I thought it may be Kate or Mark's parents had come over to check on me. I walked downstairs towards the kitchen. I could hear someone moving around. It sounded like they were cooking. Morning, baby. Sleep well, Mark. I froze. How could this be? I just buried him the day before. You okay, baby? You look a little pale. I pinched myself. It hurt. This isn't a dream. Mark, can you tell me what's been happening the last couple months? What are you talking about? I started a new job. You just got that promotion. Is everything okay? Mm-hmm. Everything is fine. I left the kitchen in a daze. I thought that maybe this is one of those supernatural moments that I maybe just got to have one more day with my love, and I intended to make the most of it. But the next day, he was there again, and the next day, and the next. It's been a month, and he's still here. I don't know how to handle this. I haven't told anyone. I haven't spoken to anyone. How do I tell people that my husband came back from the dead? How do I tell my husband he died a month ago? I like this because it doesn't offer a solution. Hey, you have him there with you and he seems fine, right? Reminding him. Might change things a bit. Are you ready for that? Yeah, I like this one because it doesn't necessarily offer a solution like, oh, it turns out that she was just crazy or something like that. It kind of leaves it up to interpretation. Alright, that was good. I kind of like that one, to be honest. I like that ending. I was desperate to cook a delicious meal for my husband. I'm gonna do this one. How long is it? Okay, not that one. My wife was always a jealous woman. It was 7:45 on a Friday night. Truthfully, I got home from work around 7:30. I was just sitting there for 15 minutes, staring at the kitchen light shine through the window on this dark evening, and feeling the sense of dread that radiated from that house. Her house. My wife, Megan, was an amazing girlfriend. Cool, laid back, sexy. The kind of girl to throw back beers with you at the tailgate. Everything I ever wanted, but everything I never got. From the second I married her, ungrateful acid's been nagging, jealous, insecure, dead bedroom, and no going out with my friends unless I want to be in the doghouse. I looked at the house that I once considered mine, and as I watched the lace curtains in the window, I felt my blood boil with resentment, knowing that it's now her house. I took a deep breath and stepped out of my car. I instinctively reached for my pocket to check my phone, and I remembered why I had been waiting in the car for so long. I left my phone at home that day with Meg. There was no way she didn't read through my texts, my emails, or my browser history. How she probably looked through my Amazon purchases. She never trusted me for shit. I sighed and walked to the door, while my mind was screaming at my body to drive away and never come back. I hesitantly turned the doorknob and opened the door to my wife's house. As I opened the door, a gust of wind and a gust of the scent of my favorite meal wafted into my face, a beef roast in a slow cooker. Meg hasn't made this since the time she told me she dented my car. I was immediately suspicious. Hi, honey. Welcome home. I hear her sickly sweet voice call me from the kitchen. I hesitantly walked in and saw her standing next to the slow cooker, chopping up some carrots and humming, "Build me a buttercup," softly. Her long brown hair was perfectly curled. She was in a skin-tight pink dress, and if I weren't so cautious, I'd have been drooling over her. "Pot roast, huh?" I said with a chuckle, trying to play it cool. "Mm-hmm," she responded with a smile and a sing-songish tone. "Oh, by the way, you left this here today," she said, and she handed me my phone. I took it from her hand, not breaking eye contact with her. The look she gave me was unsettling, like the coy expression of someone who knows a secret you don't. I hid my nerves and opened up my phone. I go to my messages with Tawny, just the same as I saw. "I love you, baby." I had messaged her before bed. "I love you more, my dear," she responded. I glanced up from my screen to my wife. She was just stirring the roast, unaware of the little box of lies I held in my hand. She glanced up at me. "What?" she said with a chuckle and a small smile. "Oh, nothing, just admiring my beautiful wife," I said as I slipped the phone in my pocket. I changed my password monthly at this point, so maybe she hadn't figured it out. Well, dinner is almost done. Why don't you have a seat? She said with a nod towards the table. I walked over to the head of the table, and that's when I noticed it. The extra chair and the extra place setting. What's this about, baby? I asked her, pointing a thumb to the extra place. Oh, we're having someone for dinner, she said excitedly as she walked over and set the crock pot gently on the table. She took my plate and put a heaping helping of roast on it. I was still suspicious of whatever she did that needs such an extravagant apology dinner for. She then took her plate and gives herself a serving and sits down. Who's coming for dinner? I asked her with a confused tone. She just laughed and sat down. I look again at the empty place setting. Megan, who's coming for dinner? I asked again, a little bit frustrated at being ignored. She laughed again as she cut her roast and popped a bite into her mouth. She inhaled sharply and looked to the upper left of her vision as she were thinking. Why don't you tell me about Tawny? She asked with a smile as she cut off another mouthful. My heart drops and ice water runs through my body, knowing I've been caught. She's, a colleague, I sputter out. Meg scoffs at me. Yeah, a colleague who sends you a picture of her rack. She asks and stares intently at me. I drink some water to myself, buy myself some time to think of an answer. It's not like that, Meg, I say sheepishly. I look down at my plate and start cutting aimlessly at the meal. Fidgeting makes me feel less anxious. It's only a matter of time before she flies off the handle. I'm sure it's not. She's cute, I can't blame you. A hot little blonde 22-year-old. I'm sure she has no dad since she's such a slut. That's why you're willing to be your daddy, yeah? She grills me as she punctures her roast with her fork and has another slice. The sound of her fork scraping her teeth were worse than nails on a chalkboard. I take a bite of my dinner as I mull over my next move. I chewed slowly to milk as much time as I can and come up with a way out of this. I begin the speech every person who's been in this situation tells. Meg, listen, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No. She cut me off as she stabs her fork into the roast and points at me. No, you're not gonna do that. I'm not fucking stupid. It wasn't an accident. You did it, and now you're gonna face what you did, she says to me. The statement catches me off guard. Why? What do you mean? I ask her, feeling like I'm finally getting to the bottom of her antics. Tawny didn't know you're married, did she? She asked me with an evil smile. No, she didn't, I say, as I stare down at my plate and slowly chew another mouthful. Anything to stall the shame of admitting what I did. Truthfully, I don't feel bad for lying to Meg. I feel bad for lying to Tawny. I know Meg would never let me leave, so I'm just leading that sweet girl on. Yeah, I figured as much. Your birthday isn't a good phone password, you know, she says to me before taking a sip of her Merlot. It was so easy to text her and ask if she wanted to have dinner with her sweet, sweet lover, Isaac. She said, still holding the glass to her lip and smiling. She isn't even looking at me, just coming off into the distance, like she's reveling in her genius plan to get me caught. That's who's coming? Meg, come on. You're mad at me, not her. Why would you want to embarrass her like this? I lied. That doesn't make her a homewrecker, I said quickly as I stomped towards the window and look out into it. The street is pretty quiet, but she hasn't arrived yet and I can't see cars coming. I didn't want her to find out and have her leave me. Tawny is the last bit of love I have left in this pathetic existence I'm living. I don't want to lose her. I peered around the neighborhood as quickly as I could for any hint she'd be arriving. Isaac, sit down, she said sternly. No, this is bullshit. I really can't fucking believe you do this. Sit the fuck down, she yells as she thrusts the carving knife into the table. Not wanting to piss her off further, I oblige. Here's how it's gonna be. I don't want a divorce. We're going to be together forever like you promised me. Her getting cut loose is the only way. I'm not gonna share my man. Not with the little whore like her, she says. Okay, well, we can talk about this, but she's not fucking coming here for dinner, I say as I pick up my phone and begin calling her number in hopes to come up with an excuse fast enough as why she can't come home. Looking for another excuse to fidget, I hold my phone with my shoulder and begin cutting the meat for another bite. That's when I hear it, the muffled ringing coming from the drawer under the sink. What the fuck? She's already here, Meg, I ask. Meg starts laughing to herself. I open the drawer to see Tawny's little phone and the ring I got her for our Valentine's date. One of her birthstone earrings, and worst of all, a little clump of weak-colored hair tied in a black ribbon. I looked at my wife, seething with rage and hatred. Meg, what the fuck did you do? I ask her. She gets up and puts a firm and painful grip to the back of my neck and quickly guides me to the table. She sharply lurches my upper body forward so I'm parallel with the table hovering over the crock pot. She removes the lid, and when the steam cleared from my face, on the roast, I see the vague shape I am very familiar with. A little butterfly on the roast, the one I ran my hands over so many times. My stomach turns, and I feel lightheaded. Hot tears run down my face into the dish. It feels like all the air has been sucked out of my body. I could die right now. This can't be real. It can't be real. My wife leaned so her lips almost touched my ear, and with that sickening syrup-sweet voice whispered, I told you, we were having her for dinner. Wow, that is a good story. And I'm not saying that the wife is justified, but I mean, come on. If you're gonna cheat on your wife, man, I feel like she should have killed him and not Tawny. Poor Tawny. That's so sad. Anyways, that was r/no sleep.